Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. This is part 1 of 3 of Acoustic Blues mini-series, and in this part I'm going to show you how to play the first half of that solo. Make sure you watch the other 2 parts because I'm going to break down the second half of the solo and the rhythm guitar part as well. As always, you can download the tablature and the jam tracks for this lesson so you can have all the assets to practice along with over at www.activemelody.com. Let's take a look at part 1. Alright, so real quick before we get started, I do want to point out the guitar I'm playing on. This is an Alvarez EP020, and it's a great little guitar for the price. They retail for around $400. You can find them online. There's lots of retail. Just Google it and you'll see. But anyway, for that price, I don't think you're going to find a better deal. I think that it's one of the best looking and playing guitars in that price range that I've come across. So I always get a lot of questions. That's what the guitar is. It's an Alvarez AP66. So anyway, let's go back. Let me start with that first part of the solo. I'll show you what I did, and then I'll break it down and show you how I did it. So here's what it sounds like on its own. And let's start with the right hand. Most of this is played with a pick. However, that opening lick there, I'm plucking that with my middle finger and ring finger on the right hand. And I'm playing that on strings 1 and 2. And you can see I'm just sort of putting my fingers kind of inside the strings a little, and I'm plucking them like this. So watch the right hand. And I'm going, notice my pick is not even touching the strings. And I'm kind of resting my hand, this part of the hand, on this part of the guitar so that my hand's not just sort of free floating. It gives you a little more control. That's just a little easier for me. But anyway, that's what's going on there with the right hand. And now with the left hand, I've got my ring finger down on the 3rd fret 1st string, and I've got my pointer finger down on the 2nd fret 2nd string. And what I'm doing when I play those 2 notes is I'm bending them sharp, just slightly, so it sounds like this. And that's sort of a twisting motion like this. So you're not pushing it straight up, you're kind of bending it like that. So you bend it twice, and then you let it go. And you just play strings 1 and 2 open. So it's... And it's got this triplet feel, so if I'm tapping my foot, it's like... Anyway, that's how you play it, and that's the kind of lick, very bluesy, and what gives it that blues is the twang, is the bend. If you didn't do the bend, it sounds just too robotic. It almost sounds wrong. So the bend is what gives it that kind of nice bluesy thing. And you can do that in any key. You can play it in the key of G. You can play it in A. So I'm just transposing it up the neck. But that's the kind of lick I use a lot when I'm playing something bluesy, especially on an acoustic guitar. Sounds great on either, though. So, and then I play string 1, string 2, fretted on the 2nd fret, and then back to string 1, open. So now after I hit that open 1 string, I matched that note on the 2nd string by sliding up to the 5th fret. So it sounds like this. And that just helps with the timing. It makes it a little, it just sort of keeps it on time. You don't have to slide up, but if you don't, I think it's just kind of ringing there for too long, and I like it gives a little texture, I guess, to do that. So, I find myself, by the way, especially on an acoustic guitar, doing this a lot. So you've got that open E string. So if you're especially if you're in the key of E, sliding up to that same note, but on the 2nd string, gives you a lot of it almost makes your guitar sound stereo instead of, because you got two strings ringing out. It just gives it a much fatter sound. And you can do things like, you just have a lot of stuff that you could play with there. So okay, so then after that, what I did was I went, okay, and so there's a lot of notes crammed in there, but it's actually pretty easy to do. So I start with my middle finger here on the 4th fret, 3rd string, and I'm going to slide up to the 6th fret, 3rd string. So that's the first thing that happens. Then I take my pointer finger and push down the 5th fret, 2nd string. So those are the first two notes we're going to do. Then I'm going to do this little walk down that goes, and what I'm doing there is that's on the 1st string, and it's fret 7, 6, and 5. And I play it with my ring, middle, and pointer finger, so it's like that. So let me back up. Let me back all the way up. I always like to do this just to set the context. So notice with the picking hand, I'm going down, up, just alternate picking. So it's down, up, down, up, down. And after that, I come back down to the 3rd fret, 1st string and play that note with a bend, and then the open 1st string. So we have, then I'm going to play the 2nd string open, and then I'm going to come down to the 2nd fret, 3rd string. Okay, so let me do that slowly. So we have, let me do it again. I'll do it slower. Alright, so then we have this lick that goes, and that sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. So even if you're a beginner, you should try and learn this. You can have this down in about 15 or 20 minutes by practicing it over and over again. But here's what it is. I'm starting on the 3rd string, open 3rd string, or the G string for you jokesters out there, and then I'm going to hammer on to the 1st fret, 3rd string with my pointer finger. 1st fret, 3rd string. Then I do a pull off with that same finger. So pick it once, hammer on, pull off. Got it? And after that, then I take my middle finger and my ring finger and I do a hammer on to the 2nd fret, strings 5 and 4 like this. And it's going to sound kind of weird when I do it out of context or slowly. But that's what I'm doing. And what I'm actually doing is I'm creating the E chord. Those of you that know the E chord down in 1st position here, that's what I'm doing. And I would break down that chord and show you how to play it note for note or fret for fret, but I always get in trouble on YouTube. People don't seem to like it when I get that granular. So I'm going to assume you know how to make an E chord. If you don't, there's plenty of references for it. But so there we go. So you got to hammer on, pull off, hammer on. And really after that, then I'm going to play the low 6th string and then the high 1 string. So the low E and the high E. So it just goes. And I tend to push down my pointer finger just to finish that E chord. So if you think about what you're doing, it's just a clever way of building the E chord. That's all you're doing. So the part you're going to want to practice if you're having a hard time with that little trill thing is just in the beginning, set a metronome, tap your foot. In the beginning you may want to do it, but at some point your speed will come, and it's just a muscle memory thing. Some people can get that right away, and others will have to work at it a little harder, but you can get it either way. Just remember, after you do that, low string, high string. Okay, let me back up and play everything. I'll play it kind of slowly up to that point. So here we go. And another thing I should point out, when I hit that, that last note that I just hit there, since I am making an E chord, I tend to just sort of let my ring finger on my right hand, which is actually how I'm playing that, I let it brush across a few strings. It doesn't have to be just that high E. You can kind of pull away and play other notes in that chord if you want. You could do that with a pick, by the way. You could do low string, high string. It's just easier for me, instead of having to jump all the way from low to high, to just hit the low there and then grab the high strings with my ring finger. That's just a preference thing. Okay. Alright, so then we come to this lick. And I love that. It's got a really bluesy sound, and it's the kind of lick that I use a lot, especially that part. And those of you that are familiar with my lessons, you'll definitely recognize elements of that in other lessons. But anyway, the first thing that happens is I'm using my pointer finger on the 7th fret 1st string, and then I'm using my middle finger on the 8th fret 2nd string, and I'm doing this little bend thing. So those are the two. That's how I'm fretting that, and I'm just playing strings 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's kind of the pattern. String 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And notice what gives it the character, though, is that bend, and that's happening really here on the 2nd string. And then my middle finger is pushing the string up so that it's slightly sharp. And again, it's that motion with the wrist. So you're not pushing it up like this, you're pushing it like this. And practice that. And you're not doing a full bend either. It's not a... it's just enough to almost push it somewhere between a half step and a whole step. So it almost sounds... It just sounds twangy, and that's what... It sounds like it's crying. So that's what's going on there. And then I take my pinky and I come up here to the 9th fret. And you could do that with your ring finger. It doesn't have to be your pinky. But so 9th fret, 1st string. Keeping these down, keeping your other two fingers down the whole time. Then I release my pinky so that I'm back down to fret 7. Then I come down to the 2nd string again, which would be on the 8th fret. And then the final note is on the 9th fret 3rd string. So let me play that slowly so you have... Let's do it again. Again. And again, that's one of those things where when you're learning these things, set a metronome and just do that over and over again, and actually feel kind of good. You could even play along with a jam track. Just let the jam track run and use that same lick over and over and over again, and it'll actually work for a lot of it, for most of that. Okay, now after that, then I come to this thing that goes... And And what I'm doing there, notice the right hand. This is I'm back to the plucking again, plucking strings 1 and 2, and that's what the right hand's doing. The left hand is I'm fretting the 10th fret first string with my pointer finger, then I'm fretting the 12th fret second string. So I have those two notes, and when you play them together, they harmonize with each other. And if you have a cutaway on your guitar, it's a little easier to get your hand up there, but obviously you can see I don't, and it's doable. So that's what that sounds like. So I do that twice, and then I do this twice, and what I'm doing here is I'm on the 9th fret first string with my pointer finger, 10th fret second string with my middle finger. So you have then I come slide this, what I just did, I slide everything down 2 frets. So you're kind of back in position, in that position again. So this is another one. You got to get that rhythm going, set a metronome, and just practice it. Okay, so that's how you play it. And again, with the right hand, it's just pluck, 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 pluck. Okay. Alright, so let me back up and play what we've just learned here. So we have... Then we have... Now after that, then I'm going to play string 1 and string 2 open. So we have... See what's going on there? With the right hand, I'm plucking. Not using the pick on those. Ring finger, middle finger. So. Then I play. And then I come down here and do that. And what I'm doing there is I'm taking my middle finger, starting on the 2nd fret, 3rd string, and I'm sliding up to the 4th fret. So both on the 3rd string. So, and when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put my pointer finger down on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing 3, 2, and 1. Strings 3, 2, and 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we have. Let me do it again slowly. Then after that, I'm going to slide back down to this 2nd fret. And then I'm going to do this. That's just an open 3rd string, hammer onto the 1st fret on the 3rd string. So do it quickly like that. Then I hit the low E, and then the first couple strings at the top. And notice I'm already in position for that E chord again. It's very similar to what we do when we did that lick. Because what you're doing, again, you're kind of cleverly building the E chord. Instead of just playing an E, you're going. And before I went, either way, the end result is sort of an E chord. Okay, so. And that is really what, all the parts to the first half of this solo. Let me back up and play all of it. I'll play it slowly so you have that as a reference. And then I'll do a version up the tempo, and that will conclude this lesson. So here it is slowly. Okay, and here's a version up to tempo. Well, that's it for this video, so make sure you watch all 3 parts if you want to learn the entire piece. As always, you can like me over at facebook.com/activemelody, or you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/activemelody, or you can join our growing community of guitar enthusiasts at www.activemelody.com. We'll see you in the next lesson.